Racist teenage boy spat in the face of a black royal guard. What happened next shocked everyone. The bustling streets outside the Capitol Guard's post were filled with tourists snapping photos and admiring the regal uniforms of the stationed guards. Among them stood Elijah Grant, one of the first black guards in the nation's history. Elijah, a former Marine, had gained a reputation for his unshakable professionalism. This day, however, would test his resolve like never before. The afternoon sun glinted off Elijah's ceremonial uniform as he stood motionless at his post. The tranquil scene was suddenly disrupted by the commotion of a young teenage boy pushing through the crowd. Ryan Miller, a 16-year-old with a history of troubling behavior, approached Elijah with an unsettling scowl. Fueled by his prejudiced views and a misguided sense of superiority, Ryan spat directly at Elijah's face. The crowd gasped audibly, freezing in collective shock. Elijah remained still, his eyes locking onto Ryan's with a calm but intense gaze. As whispers rippled through the onlookers, Elijah took a slow step forward, his hand brushing the hilt of his ceremonial sword. Ryan sneered, his confidence faltering under Elijah's unyielding demeanor. Before the situation could escalate, Captain Henry Barnes, a senior officer, emerged from the Capitol's doors. "Stand down, Guard Grant," Barnes commanded, his voice calm but firm. Elijah stepped back, resuming his rigid stance, while Barnes turned to Ryan. "You've committed a criminal act," Barnes declared, "and you will face the consequences." Palace security swiftly detained the boy, dragging him away as the crowd erupted in applause. As the commotion settled, a young child approached Elijah. "Why didn't you fight back?" the boy asked innocently. Elijah knelt, his voice steady. "Sometimes strength is staying calm when others are unkind." The child nodded thoughtfully, and Elijah resumed his post, the incident weighing heavily on him. Later that evening, Elijah returned home to his wife, Naomi, in their modest apartment. He recounted the day's events, and Naomi, though furious at the disrespect her husband endured, admired his composure. "You're stronger than most, Elijah," she said, "but this can't keep happening." The next morning, Elijah awoke to news that a video of the incident had gone viral. Social media hailed him as a symbol of dignity, but not everyone was supportive. A hateful faction, emboldened by Ryan's actions, began spreading vitriol. Ryan, now released from custody, posted videos mocking Elijah and making veiled threats. In one video, Ryan sneered, "People like him don't belong here, and I'll make sure he knows it." The threats became personal when Elijah received an anonymous message. "Watch your back." He reported the message to Captain Barnes, who promised increased security. Yet, as Elijah stood at his post the next day, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. That night, a loud bang on his front door startled him and Naomi. Opening it cautiously, Elijah found no one there, but the distant sound of a car engine sent a chill down his spine. The following morning, Elijah discovered a package on his doorstep. Inside was a photograph of him in uniform, circled in red ink with the word "soon" scrawled beneath it. Authorities launched an investigation, but Elijah refused to leave his post. "I won't let them scare me into hiding," he told Naomi. Days later, as Elijah patrolled the Capitol grounds, he spotted a familiar figure lurking among the crowd, Ryan. Their eyes met briefly before Ryan disappeared. That evening, Elijah received a video of Ryan in a dimly lit parking garage. "This isn't over," Ryan declared. "People like him think they can stand there and take it, but I'll make sure he knows his place." Elijah's unease grew as Ryan escalated his threats. Then one afternoon, an explosion rocked the Capitol gates. Smoke billowed, and panicked screams filled the air. Elijah, thrown to the ground by the blast, spotted Ryan in the chaos. Clutching a detonator, Ryan smirked and shouted, "This is just the beginning." Elijah rose to his feet, shouting for the crowd to clear out. Ryan's thumb hovered over the detonator as Elijah advanced cautiously. "You don't have to do this," Elijah called out, his voice steady. "You've made your point. Let these people go." Ryan barked a laugh. "You think I care about them? This is about showing your kind they don't belong here." Before Ryan could press the button, a sniper's shot rang out, striking his hand and knocking the detonator away. Elijah tackled Ryan to the ground as security officers swarmed in to secure the area. The crowd, though shaken, erupted into applause as Ryan was led away in cuffs. Elijah stood silently, the weight of the day pressing on him. That night, Elijah returned home to Naomi. She hugged him tightly, her relief palpable. "You're safe," she whispered. But as Elijah prepared for bed, his phone buzzed with another chilling message. You stopped one of us, but we're just getting started. The message on Elijah's phone was clear. You stopped one of us, but we're just getting started. It was no longer just Ryan acting out of hatred. It was a broader, more dangerous network of individuals. Elijah reported the message to Captain Barnes, who called an emergency meeting. We've intercepted chatter suggesting this network is planning something big, Barnes said, his tone grim. They're targeting multiple locations in the city, including the capital. Over the next few days, Elijah worked with the investigative team to unravel the network's plans. They discovered encrypted messages pointing to a gathering of network members at a warehouse on the city's outskirts. Surveillance revealed the group was preparing for a coordinated attack. That evening, the team launched a raid on the warehouse. Moving swiftly, they apprehended several members and confiscated weapons, explosives, and communication devices. Among the suspects was a young woman, Chloe, who seemed to hold a position of authority within the group. As she was being restrained, Chloe smirked at Elijah. You think you've won, she taunted. This is just a warm-up. Back at headquarters, the team combed through the evidence. Among the items recovered was a laptop containing a chilling folder labeled Phase 2. It outlined detailed plans for simultaneous attacks on cultural landmarks across the city. One of the listed targets was Elijah himself. They're escalating, Barnes said. We're dealing with a sophisticated operation. We need to act fast. The investigation intensified. Elijah joined undercover officers patrolling the city while bomb squads worked tirelessly to secure potential targets. Days passed with no incidents, but tension hung heavy in the air. Then, during a routine patrol at a bustling public square, Elijah spotted a figure acting suspiciously. The man was nervously clutching a duffel bag and glancing over his shoulder. Elijah followed him into a secluded alley and called out, "Stop. Let me see the bag." The man bolted, and Elijah gave chase. The pursuit ended near the city's main park, where the man dropped the bag and disappeared into the crowd. Bomb technicians were called in and discovered a live explosive inside, wired to detonate remotely. The discovery confirmed their fears. The network was operational and active. Later that evening, another message arrived on Elijah's phone. "Tick-tock, Elijah. 2 days left." The next morning, the team intercepted a lead pointing to the network's leader, referred to as the director. They traced his location to a secluded mansion in the mountains. Surveillance revealed the estate was heavily fortified and staffed by armed guards. "This is it," Barnes said during the briefing. "We take down the director, and we dismantle the entire operation." The team prepared for the mission, knowing it would be the most dangerous one yet. Elijah insisted on joining, despite Barnes's concerns. "This started with me," Elijah said. "I need to see it through." Under the cover of night, the team approached the mansion. They breached the perimeter, neutralizing guards as they advanced. Inside the estate, they encountered heavy resistance but pressed forward until they reached the central command room. Sitting at a large desk surrounded by monitors was an older man. Gerald Cross, the director. He turned to face them, his expression calm and composed. "You've come to stop me?" Cross asked, his voice laced with condescension. "You don't understand. This isn't just about me. It's about restoring order to a fractured world." "Your order is built on fear and hate," Elijah replied, his weapon trained on Cross. "It's over." Cross smirked and pressed a button on his desk, bringing up live feeds of explosive devices planted across the city. "You can't stop all of them," he said. "This is bigger than you." Elijah's heart pounded as he relayed the situation to the team. Bomb squads were deployed immediately, working against the clock to disarm the devices. Meanwhile, Elijah stepped closer to Cross. "Call it off," he demanded. Cross remained defiant. "Even if I do, someone else will take my place." As Cross reached for another hidden device, Elijah fired, striking his hand. Cross was restrained, and his equipment was confiscated. The remaining bombs were disarmed in time, and the city was safe. Back at headquarters, the team celebrated their success. The network's leadership had been dismantled, and the immediate threat was neutralized. But Elijah couldn't shake the weight of the fight ahead. The network might be fractured, but their ideology persisted. That night, as Elijah and Naomi sat together, his phone buzzed with another message. "You stopped one of us, but you can't stop the idea. See you soon." Elijah stared at the screen, his resolve hardening. "This isn't over," he said quietly. Naomi took his hand. "Whatever comes next, we'll face it together." As the city began to heal, Elijah remained vigilant, ready for the battles yet to come. He knew the fight against hate was far from over, but he also knew he wasn't fighting it alone.